Welcome to Monday, July 28th, 2025. Your Day Weather podcast being brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at WyomingAdvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, we're going to wait for the next surge of monsoonal moisture to kind of get things going again on a widespread thunderstorm basis beginning tomorrow as we're seeing the next plume get formed off to our south. However, there's plenty of moisture, as we mentioned late last week, around the edges. And we're going to have severe weather today from Montana through the Dakotas, parts of Nebraska, and into the Northwest Corn Belt. We'll see an interesting pattern, kind of a textbook situation that happens with severe weather this time of year in that part of the country. And as the monsoon deepens Tuesday through the weekend, we're going to kind of cycle back into where we were last week, where that threat of heavy rain producing thunderstorms, especially along and east of the Continental Divide, is going to be a possibility. And we'll go through basically this next monsoon cycle that will last through the weekend. Then, about a week from today, there may be kind of a shifting around of the high pressure and low pressure patterns across North America, and that may change things up a bit, kind of breaking the monsoonal surge for a while. When we take a look at photos over the weekend, some really good ones. A lot of folks looking up around southeastern Wyoming on Saturday, as you saw with that picture of the Thunderbirds, and then that's really how it went during Cheyenne Frontier Days. Rainbows and lightning strikes. Moments of sun, moments of torrential rain, moments of hail, and also some nice days mixed in as well. Really typical late July weather. Beautiful shot there from Fremont Lake out in western Wyoming in the Wind Rivers. And we just saw a textbook situation over the weekend in terms of what we saw with the clouds and the conditions. The still waters there, another shot from the Wind River Mountains. And then when we had the thunderstorms develop across southeastern Wyoming and northern Colorado Friday and Saturday, they just really came together in a very photogenic way here as Jen caught the developing thunderstorm, the start of the activity that got going and caused quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity Friday late afternoon and evening. And that was followed up with more activity as we got the weekend started. But as many of you probably noticed, the thunderstorm coverage did drop off over this past 24 hours or so. The monsoonal moisture not as deep in western Wyoming and eastern Idaho as you can see there, but enough of it. And with the smoke and haze, a lot of you probably noticed it over the weekend. We have a collection of wildfires in the western United States causing smoke plumes at times circulating through. At times the smoke plumes clear out and you get photos like what you're seeing here. As we go ahead and take a look at what's coming our way, we'll see that monsoonal moisture will start to be coming up from the south and west again. Look at that shot. Beautiful shot near the Outlaw Canyon area near KC, Wyoming, where the wild bunch hung out. Beautiful shot there, and a lot of the flowers on the plains kind of reaching their peak here at the moment. When we look at the satellite photos, you can see what's going on very well. Here's your finger of subtropical moisture coming back up from the south, and here's your ring around the edges of the drier air that's here in the Great Basin states. So we've got this ring of moisture and stability up here. We've got the next monsoonal plume working its way up. You can really see it here in the water vapor imagery coming up out of southeastern Arizona, New Mexico, through Colorado. You can see the light shading to gray here. Even though we've got a large ridge of high pressure in the center of the country, around the edges of it, we're going to have severe weather. So if you look at the 500 millibar chart here, a couple of features stand out. This big high here in the southern plains, a typical location for the summer high to be. We've got this deep low spinning up around the Gulf of Alaska that's just going to kind of sit there. This is quite a strong system really for mid-July. But you have this area of high pressure overhead. The area of severe weather today, you're going to see, is in this location. Now, you might be saying, well, there's a big high there. Why would there be severe weather? Well, there's that ring of moisture we showed you. That subtropical moisture is getting funneled up there. But we also have colder air aloft and small weather disturbances like this low here riding along where the deeper moisture is, and colder air aloft is accessible right here. And the jet stream winds along this gradient right here, where you see the black lines are tighter together, the winds aloft here are stronger. So you put all of that together, despite the high pressure environment, and you're going to concentrate that moisture, kind of focus it really into this area right here. So as the day wears on, showers and thunderstorms are going to form along this, like these two lines here I showed you, and go into the evening and overnight hours. Now we call these mesoscale convective complexes that can form lee of the Rockies, then go out into the plains and continue into the overnight and early morning hours. And that's exactly what we're going to see. So we're going to see this develop today and into tonight. You can see the deeper moisture kind of consolidating over the Dakotas. And if we were to look at where the thunderstorms are going to be late this afternoon, you can see across that arc of moisture, across Montana and into the Dakotas. And then this is the afternoon. Then between 6 p.m. and midnight, they get organized, and you get this heavy cluster, the mesoscale MCC, we call it, convective complex forms, then continues all the way into the morning hours into Iowa, into Minnesota before petering out as it works its way through. But you can see the formation of the thunderstorms and then that organization of the thunderstorms along that boundary I just showed you. And the Storm Prediction Center is very much concerned about a lot of severe weather here in eastern South Dakota, Minnesota, maybe into northeast Nebraska. This area right here could be getting everything. Heavy rain, flooding, large hail, tornado activity. So this is going to be a hot spot today. Then as we just cycle through the week here, as we go through the next several days, and we're just going to go through the week. So as that moisture comes up from the south, and we get that ring of moisture coming on through, you can see that thunderstorm coverage really expands closer to the divide, in some areas west of the divide on Tuesday. And we do have the Storm Prediction Center outlook of some strong thunderstorms in the darker green areas tomorrow in those locations. Then as we get into Wednesday, notice we've got western Wyoming into the mix now, more of western and southwest Colorado as well, and then kind of pushing back further west into Arizona and further west into northern and parts of central areas of New Mexico. Then you can see the moisture going around the high as it's centered right here. So that's Wednesday. That's Thursday. The moisture gets further west into Arizona. We have it going on right here in the Montana, Idaho area as well, and across the central Rockies. Now notice the plains here don't have much going on. It's because the concentration of the moisture is right here, and we actually have high pressure expanding into this area here. So after there's severe weather, they catch a break. Then this is for Friday. So we'll just go through the work week here with thunderstorms every day as that next plume of moisture comes up. And with all the activity, this is the temperature anomaly stretched out over a 5-day period. So basically this is from midday today through early morning Saturday. You can see where the thunderstorms are going to want to be hanging around. Temperatures are going to be slightly cooler than average for late July and into the first couple of days of August. Now, beyond this time frame, what we're going to see is a bit of a shift. Notice where the high is now. This is by next Monday. The high goes all the way into southern Arizona, and so that's going to direct subtropical moisture out into the Pacific, and basically this turns off the monsoon for a bit. Doesn't make it end, but it does turn it off. The door gets closed. However, you're going to see systems and moisture come off the Pacific. So while the monsoon will be depressed here, we're going to see shower and thunderstorm activity early next week across the northern tier of the U.S., probably a pretty active pattern there. And this will send some cooler air into the lower 48 during that period of early to mid next week as well. So the pattern staying pretty busy for the middle to the end part of summer here with the monsoon and this active jet stream up north. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.